This is the Giant Loop Mojave tank bag. I've had this for, I don't know, about a year, maybe a little more. I'm not really sure about when I got it, but I've had it long enough now where I feel like I'm comfortable giving a review on it. First off, it is well worth the money. I can't remember if it is claimed to be 100% waterproof or not, but I have not had this thing leak a drop into the main compartment, even when I've been in fairly heavy rain. The top matte portion here does get a lot of condensation in it, regardless of what you have going on. It will get condensation in there. It doesn't get drenched from rain, but I don't consider it at all a waterproof pocket. So keep that into consideration. And the only other pocket it has is this front one here, and that's where I keep a piece of ABS plastic, 1/4 inch thick, and I have this for my kickstand, especially if I'm in a muddy area with soft soil, or if I'm on pavement on a really hot day and I don't want my kickstand sinking into the asphalt. So I'll give you a little more close-up look on what parts there are to this and some of its features, as well as my thoughts on those features. There are 3 straps that hold this tank bag on. There are 2 on the sides that I just put around each of the frame rails here, and it works out perfectly for this bike. This is the Honda CRF 250L, by the way. And then one that goes up around the front head bearing area where at the front of the frame. Just wraps around there, and this thing is locked in pretty tight. I don't have it super tight, and that is because the zipper that holds this on can be a little tricky to get to zip on and off, which is really my only complaint. Is it is a little bit difficult sometimes to get the zipper on correctly, and depending on how full the bag is full of stuff, it can make that more or less of a challenge. So here's a closer look at the zipper. The trickiest point is right here where you can see the fabric pinching up a little bit. But these are genuine YKK zippers, and they are very smooth when you get them in a good straight run, and it's a pretty heavy duty zipper as well. So I think that alone is a good design choice, as well as, you know, it is a little difficult to get on. It's a complaint, but I think that's just fine. So the next feature related to the zipper is if you just unzip it about 3/4 of the way, you can just tip the tank bag over and not have to remove it at all, and then you have access to your gas cap. I will typically just remove the tank bag completely when I'm filling with gas, but it isn't necessary. And again, I think that's another good feature from Giant Loop. So underneath the tank bag here, you can also see where the extra length of strap goes that isn't being used to tie it down to the frame. You could just cut them shorter if you want, if you know you're going to keep it on a dedicated bike or bike platform. I don't plan to sell my CRF anytime soon, especially with the bike market and how it is these days. But at the same time, just so that I don't damage this in any way that will prevent it from going on to a different bike, I want to make sure that I keep this stock, so I don't mind having the straps being a little longer. Taking a closer look at this top compartment, there is one snap that holds this flap closed. There's also a length of Velcro. In here, I just usually keep a map for the area that I'm in and one of these tiny El Cheapo compasses. It's usually right, but it is never right while it's in the tank bag. And there also is a pass-through here if you need power or something else to go from the bottom to up here. Like if you put your phone or a tablet in here, I wouldn't recommend that because in the hot sun, your electronic devices can overheat, as well as the condensation issue that I mentioned earlier. So when you open up the lid of the tank bag, you can see the tag here, Diablo Pro tank bag, and it is made in the USA. And this is the main reason why I like going with Giant Loop above other suppliers, is that their stuff is actually made in the USA. So up here you have a mesh compartment. I just keep my insurance papers, registration papers, a couple pens and markers in here. I don't carry much of anything else. because that's a good place for it to be with the bike. It will always be on the bike if I'm on the road, which means I always have my insurance and registration papers. And finally, here is the main compartment. This is what some people will think is a real downside to this tank bag, but I think really just makes it the best compromise you can have for a tank bag. It really does not have all that much space inside. And that is not so great because there's not a whole lot of things you can really fit in here if they're larger. But the real benefit of that is that you don't have a giant tank bag that is always hitting you in the stomach, especially if you're a bigger rider. And it's not just in the way of the handlebars. This is nice and compact and out of the way. You can keep smaller things. I usually keep a couple earplugs, and some empty cases here, but some safety glasses for riding at night. I can also keep a pair of sunglasses in here. I've got my tool bag, because I've been changing up my tools recently, but that's a totally separate topic. So I've got, my basic tools there, and then just some wires and cables for charging devices, cameras, phones, whatever I've got. But I've also, you can put snacks and other things in here, more maps or spare batteries for things. The sky's the limit when it comes to what you can put in here, obviously. But another feature I like is that they lined the bag with a bright material so you can more easily see the stuff that's in the bag. If it was all black, it would be a lot harder to see things. To wrap up my final thoughts, one, I love the fact that this is made in the USA. I also think that the price point of this bag, considering that it's made in the USA, is excellent. I would have no problems buying one of these again, and I probably will someday. I really do love this tank bag that much. It is a very well-made product. It hasn't lost a stitch yet. It's held up perfectly in the little over a year that I've had it. And I think that if you're looking for a tank bag that is about this size, that's going to fit a bike not dissimilar to the CRF 250L, a dual sport sort of bike, or an adventure style sort of bike, definitely consider this. Compare it to other options like Moscow Moto. They make some tank bags that are for sure 100% waterproof. This one, again, I can't remember if it is or not, but it hasn't leaked on me at all, and I've been through some very heavy rainstorms. So that all taken into account, I think that this tank bag has been the best fit for me, and I haven't regretted it since the day I bought it. So I think that wraps up my thoughts. If you have any questions about this bag or some other bags compared to this one, definitely let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer anything. And until next time, see ya.